For us there in Ankara. Well, it's time now to get you our daily fact-checking segment, Truth or Fake, with France 24's Vedike Bahel. With the Turkish elections coming up, Vedike, this weekend, you'll be looking into kind of how misinformation has affected the campaign. What can you tell us?
Yes, Rochelle, it is a tight duel between the incumbent president Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the opposition Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu and the Nation Alliance coalition that threatens to unseat Erdogan after nearly 2 decades in power. Now, in this tight race for that top spot, targeted misinformation has been rife on social networks. Now, one great example is this video against President Erdogan. It has been circulating since last week on Turkish-speaking social media primarily, but we can see there's nearly 700,000 views on this video alone. Now, in this video, we see Devlet Bahçeli, who is a far-right politician and a member of Erdogan's coalition government. We can see him there next to the president himself as well. And in the video, he says... just get that playing for you. He says, "When I assume the responsibility of power, I will hold 7 dynasties of Erdogan to account." So that's quite strong, critical words there from Bahçeli, saying that he will hold Erdogan responsible. Now, in fact, this video is real. That I can confirm. It is from the 20th of February 2023, this year, just after the earthquakes that took place in Turkey, where Bahçeli appeared with Erdogan for a public speech like this. Now, in it, I have the transcript of the speech that he gave there. Now, in his speech, he addressed the earthquakes. You know, I wish God's mercy and to our wounded brothers and sisters. But unlike that soundbite we heard, he didn't criticize Erdogan at all. He didn't really express any criticism towards him. Instead, he only expressed his support. We stand by our president in this regard, and we would like to express our support to him in all matters. Now, in fact, that video that we saw has been manipulated. We can see it ourselves just in that in how there was a speech bubble sort of coming out of it as well. But it's not just the montage that has been manipulated, it is the sound as well. Now, Bahçeli used to be a pretty vocal critic of Erdogan for several decades, actually. And what happened is that whoever has manipulated that video has taken the sound from the soundbite from 2014. From 10 years ago. So misleading overall, and this has clearly been made to spread distrust towards President Erdogan in the run-up to the election, of course.
Right, well, Vedike, it's not just about misinformation and fake news when it comes to President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. It's equally about his opposition, isn't it?
Yes, misinformation has also been used to defame Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, the opposition, as well, in this case to glorify President Erdogan. Now, this video has circulated with over 1 million TikTok views, claiming that Kılıçdaroğlu says, "My dear people, Erdogan is the leader of the century." Now, this is indeed a deep fake, and it's not a very good one at that. As we can see, the movements are quite jerky and unnatural and robotic. There is a blackness to the eyes, and the skin is pretty waxy as well. Now, in fact, a reverse image search showed us that this video was taken from a YouTube video that had been created to illustrate the dangers of deepfake technology. So that's pretty ironic there. So whoever has created this has taken the video and switched it for exactly the opposite purpose against Kılıçdaroğlu in this instance.
All right, and finally, Vedike, with this level of misinformation, has this actually posed a challenge for Turkish media and fact-checking as well?
Yes, it has. In fact, we spoke to Emre Saklıca. He is the head of editorial at Teyit. Now, Teyit is Turkey's largest fact-checking media outlet. It's a little bit like the Turkish equivalent of our France 24 observers. And he told us that they published nearly 150 articles of fake news since the election period began, since the campaign began. Now, he also told us how the country has struggled to recover from economic woes and, of course, the devastation from the earthquakes, and how social media and politicians have really used these crises to misdirect and misinform. So let's take a listen at what he had to say.
For example, some politicians targeted LGBT community, or some of them said PKK support main opposition alliance. Sometimes it's hard to debunk this kind of claims, but we always try to tell whole context of this kind of things. And we try to give accurate information for Turkish community. And it's very important to empower democracy.
So there you have it, Rochelle. A few examples of Turkey political misinformation there, but of course we will have to see just how things go on Sunday.
Absolutely, and we'll be doing a number of special programmes as well on Sunday on the Turkish election, so you can watch us then. Vedike, thanks very much for our Truth or Fake segment. Thank you. Well, look, following